One of the things I enjoy most about roasting coffee at home is the learning process. I really am learning constantly as I roast each batch, and sometimes it can be frustrating. And so today I want to share with you an experience that I had as I was roasting an Ethiopian washed coffee, and we're going to be roasting it here on this M10. This is a 1.2 kilo roaster. And I want to share with you the things that I did to kind of avoid that frustration and to accomplish a really good roast. So let's get started, and that begins with a roasting plan. Now, some of you may be really wondering, what are you talking about? What is a roasting plan? Why do we need to plan anything? Turn the roaster on, throw the beans in, and let's get going. Well, we're going to do that. We're going to turn the roaster on and we're going to get going here in just a second. But it's important for us to have a plan. And why are we putting a plan together? We're putting a plan together for consistency, to make sure that we understand what we're doing. And as part of this learning process, it helps us craft great coffee. So if you're using the same profile over and over and over, even on different coffees, then this video is for you. If you have never put together a roasting plan, this video is for you. And if you've done all of that, I would encourage you to hang around, because I would love to hear your feedback and the things that you see me do with this roast. We're going to be roasting an Ethiopian washed coffee. It's a Sidamo Centuine Abor. It's an heirloom varietal. And this is, again, an Ethiopian coffee. It's a washed coffee, very high density, 783 on the density score. And I did a video on how to measure density. You can check that out up here. But I'm not really concerned about heat, how much heat I'm applying to these beans, because it's a really dense bean. And I want to get as much of this delicate flavor out of this coffee as I can. We're going to be looking for tasting notes like apricot or peach, black tea, and lemongrass. So this is a kind of a delicate kind of a roast. We're going to try to maximize flavor for this through this profile that we're going to create. So how am I going to create a profile that can maximize this, these flavor notes? Well, with this coffee and the density that it is, and the goal of maximizing the flavors, especially things like the apricot and the black tea, I want to have a lighter roast, and that means a lower ending temperature. It also means a shorter roast time. So we're going to roast on the drum roaster here. We're going to have a total roast time of about 9 minutes for a total roast. And knowing that that's going to be 9 minutes is going to help me know how much heat I'm going to need to get this roast done in 9 minutes. So we're going to have a charge temperature of 190 C. Then we're going to go ahead and plan for about a 4.5 minute dry time. So it's going to take me about 4.5 minutes once I start the roast to get the coffee to turn yellow. And then from there, I expect first crack to take place around 7 minutes and 30 seconds. And then I'm going to have about 1 minute to 1.5 minutes in development. And again, my goal is to have a lower drop temperature. And so my ending temperature is, my goal is to be about 194 degrees or less for my ending temperature. So this is my roasting plan. We are going to use a charge weight of 400 grams, a fan speed. We're going to build that, ramp that fan air speed up to about 50% on this roaster by the end of the roast. And we're going to be using a drum speed of about 70%. So this is going to loft the coffee, but it's not going to throw the coffee all over the place. So we're going to get good convection heat transfer when we roast this coffee, just because of the drum speed by itself. And then as we add more air, that's going to help us have a nice clean cup. It's going to help move the smoke out if we get any smoke in the roast. And again, we're roasting light, so I don't really expect much smoke at all to take place. All right, so let's get the roaster warmed up and then we'll get started. This Kaleido roaster is the M10 model. It's a 1.2 kilo sealed second generation coffee roaster from Kaleido. So we have the roaster that's warming up right now, and one of the nice things about the Kaleido is that it's similar to the Bullet, where there is an auto function, an automated function, and we're going to use that automated function to warm the roaster up and to have the roaster hover at the charge temperature so that we have a nice, stable, hot environment in this roast. So we're going to charge the roaster, set it up for 190°C, and the roaster, as you can see, it has both the red line and the blue line there are horizontal. That's good news. That means we have consistent temperatures, and we're going to begin this roast as we charge. All right, we've got 400 grams of green Ethiopian coffee that we're about to put into the roaster, pouring it in the top of the hopper, and we're setting it up to charge. Drum is on. As the roaster's heated up, the roaster is starting to roast the coffee. All the beans are in. And take a look here as I'm getting our burner set up at 80% power and a drum speed of 70 and an airflow of 20%. We're going to move that SV value up here in just a little bit so that it is higher. The set value is the maximum temperature that the roaster will get to before it turns off. Once you begin your roast on the Kaleido, you go ahead and you move the set value up, and I'll be doing that in just a minute. Okay, we have got positive momentum going here. So I'm looking, and we've just hit turning point, 92°C, and I'll put the Fahrenheit up on the screen, as well as 51 seconds. That tells me that the beans have gone into the roaster at room temperature. You can see that red line went straight down and now it's curved around, and that is the metal probe that is reading the temperature of these room temperature beans, which has now kind of caught up to the temperature of the roaster, and you see the bean temperature now climbing. The blue line above that, that's horizontal right now, that line will start to climb. That is the environmental temperature that is being measured by the roaster itself. Also, you just see that real thin red line skyrocket up the screen there. That is our rate of rise. We're going to be talking about our rate of rise here during the roasting process. The rate of temperature increase is what the rate of rise is. And so in the beginning of a roast like this, we want to have a lot of momentum to ensure that we can move this roast along in a timely fashion. I want to get this coffee to turn yellow in 4.5 minutes. In order for me to do that, I have to have higher temperatures and I have to have enough power to continue moving the temperatures upward at a good rate. And so that's what's happening here now. Our rate of rise is 21. It peaked around 25, and we are slowly starting to work our way down in this rate of rise to the dry event. Currently, Artisan is estimating 3 minutes and 55 seconds for our dry event, but as you can see, the time is getting longer, and that's because the rate of rise is becoming lower. It is coming further down, and that's okay, because by dry end, I want to be in an area that I have good control, that I'm not going to fly through this roast too quickly, because I want the coffee to dry thoroughly, turn yellow, and then I want to have enough time in this middle phase for good flavor development. And if I have too much momentum, then the middle phase will go too quickly, and before you know it, I'm at first crack, and then I'll be at second crack because I've got too much energy in the roaster. That's not going to happen here because I have good control. I'm really happy with where we're at. There, I just moved up my set value to 220, so I don't have to worry about that. And we are still at a burner setting of 80%. And I'm doing that because I need to maintain momentum here with this roaster. All right, I'm checking the color just to check on the progress, and I am seeing some yellowing going on. We're at 4 minutes, and we're not full yellow yet. For me, in order to have consistency, I like to have full yellow for my coffee. I don't want to see any green. All right, we are at a rate of rise of about 15, and so far so good. This is a great approach. I'm just looking at kind of ahead in my mind at the descent angle, basically the angle of the rate of rise right now. And if I look ahead to the 8 or 9 minute mark, I would say that visually it looks like I'm on track. All right, I just marked dry end at 4 minutes and 29 seconds, and that's great news because my target was 4 minutes and 30 seconds at a temperature of 159.5 C, and you'll see Fahrenheit on the screen as this roast progresses. This is all really good news. I'm glad that we're on track, and so now my next milestone target that I'm after is first crack, and I want first crack to take place around 7:30. Artisan's helping me predict this time. If you look up at the screen there, you'll see right now it's at 6:47:49. And eventually we're going to get close to the 7:30 mark. That's my plan. And in order for me to have that happen, I need to continue to have my rate of rise descend. I need to have a lower temperature, rate of temperature increase taking place. And so I'm lowering my power, as you can see here. I just circled it so you can see how I'm managing this power. Well, this is all really good. By lowering the power, I have now ensured or continued this downward descent of my rate of rise as I'm headed towards that 9 minute mark. And I'm happy with my rate of descent. I can smell the coffee coming out of the roaster. I'm getting a lot of sweet smell. That's the caramelization, that the sugars that are starting to occur in the roasting process. And it smells really, really good. This coffee is definitely a delicate coffee, so I don't want to over roast this coffee, and that's why I'm focused on this light roast. Okay, we have some occasional little ups and downs here in the rate of rise. This is just the probes and the way that they're sensing the temperatures. I'm not concerned about that in the least. And you can take a look at the estimated time here. It's at 7 minutes and 10, 7:13, 7:15 now for Artisan and the first crack estimate. And that's going to take place in about 20-25 seconds. And we're in a really great place here as far as our roast progression. We're at 7 minutes right now. I've got a little bit more time before I hit first crack, and I have the amount of time that has taken place during this middle phase for flavor development is spot on where I want it to be. I have made another adjustment to lower the temperature just a little bit more, and I've also increased my air. You can see the blue line. I've increased it a couple times already, and that is to help with convection style roasting, and it's also there to help move out any smoke out of the roasting chamber. All right, so we've hit first crack at 7 minutes and 36 seconds, just about 6 seconds later than my goal temperature that I wanted to hit, and I'm really happy with that. I'm ecstatic about it. So now what I want to do is I want to get my rate of rise down lower to ensure that my temperatures don't continue to increase as quickly as they have been. You can see I'm already at 192. I've only got another degree or two before I'm going to drop this coffee, so I need to make sure that my rate of rise continues to move downward so that my temperatures don't keep increasing quickly. And now it's time to go ahead and drop the coffee. I've hit the drop, hit the cooling fan, and now I've lifted the door and the coffee comes out. That happened all real quick. This roast went pretty quick, and it looks delicious. It looks and smells wonderful, and the fans are ensuring that this coffee is going to cool off really quick. So I'm happy with the way this roast happened. Look at the descending rate of rise. I'll draw a line here. You can see that I stayed pretty well in the track that I wanted to for a nice descending, consistent rate of rise. You can see my bean curve gradually slowed down and started to flatten out. It didn't flatten out because my rate of rise was at about 3.5 or 4 when I dropped the coffee. I mean, this is all good. This is exactly what I wanted to have happen. All right, so now we go ahead and end the roast, and we'll see the breakdown here. Half of our time of the total roast was devoted to the dry phase. 35%, 3 minutes and 7 seconds, was devoted towards this middle phase, this Maillard browning phase. And this is where a lot of the flavors and the reactions are taking place, and they take place throughout development too. Development was 1 minute and 12 seconds, right about what I wanted. I wanted 1 minute to 1.5 minutes for a development time. I'm happy with that. So it all seems good, and now we need to weigh the coffee out to check out the weight loss of the coffee, which will help us determine the moisture loss of this coffee. We started with 400 grams of coffee, and we've weighed out 355.4 grams of roasted coffee, and that gives us a 11.2% moisture loss. That is a really light roast coffee. That was my goal to have happen here on this roast. So the moisture loss is intact. And now the next thing that I want to do is I just want to take a look at the color, and I'm going to use the color analyzer from D-Fluid. I have a video on that up here, which you'll be able to check out if you're interested. And what this does is it takes a look at the bean color, and it tells me the roast level of the bean color. It will also take a look at the ground color as well. But right now I just want to verify the bean color that I'm seeing with my eyes, the moisture loss that I have already determined, 11.2%. And here the roast analysis is telling me that it is in fact a 72.9 on the Agtron, which is a light roast. And I'm really happy with the way that this turned out. I've already tasted this coffee. I've been enjoying it all week. This is a coffee that has a kind of a peach nectar kind of a acidity. It's very sweet. There is a lemongrass or a light lemon acidity that's not tart at all. It just makes the tongue really juicy, very enjoyable, and it definitely has tea-like qualities because it is a light, super light body coffee, definitely delicate, and it's one that is just, there are no roasty notes in it at all. This is a wonderful light roast coffee. I have this profile out on my Buy Me a Coffee website. It is buymeacoffee.com/virtualcoffeelab. I'll have a link in the description. I've got this profile out there for free if you are interested in downloading it. I also have quite a few other profiles that I've put out there with drum roasters, with the Bullet, with the Beemore. I think I even have a fresh roast profile out there, and then now I have this profile as well. And these are all free profiles. I would encourage you to check that out and download the ones that you're interested in. Also, if this is the type of content that you like, hit the like button right now. That really helps me out. And if this channel has been helping you in your home coffee roasting, please hit the subscribe button. That will really help me as well. YouTube is kind of a tough place to compete with so many other people and compete for your time here. And when you like my videos and when you subscribe, that helps me in the YouTube algorithm. So thank you for doing that. I really appreciate it. I would love to hear your thoughts about this roast, what you think, what you saw. If you have questions about what I did, or if you have a different approach that you use while you roast coffee in this manner, roasting a light roast, I'd be really interested to hear that. Please share those in the comments. That's a place for everyone to read and learn and ask questions. And yeah, so thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for being a watcher of my channel, and I hope you have a great week roasting. We'll see you next time. Take care.